I think we just have a quick look and address the banking crisis that they're having at the moment. So this here is the S&P Regional Banking ETF, and we can see here, this is all the data we have on this. That's why the dinosaurs there, which I really love. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we've got a nice 5-wave structure. Then we've got the ABC, and then we've got another 5-wave structure here as well. So we don't have any sort of history here. We could look at this in different ways. We could look at it as wave 3 here, 4 here, and up for 5 here. That would be possible. We could also look at this as wave 1 here and a sharp wave 2 pulling back, and then, you know, the heroes come in and save the banking world, and then we sort of push up from that point. So we have pulled back quite a bit here. We can see that we've got an impulse wave here, and we've got some type of correction here that we could probably view in a few different ways. The 50-60% retracement level area for this here that's the 50 here, and that's the 61. So normally we can allow things to come to the, well, you can come right down to 1 point within, you know, as long as it doesn't take that low out there. But the 78.6 here and the supply zone here, I can see that this wave down here is obviously, you know, a strong, looks like a sort of a third wave sort of thing. And if this is a correction sort of here, we should sort of expect, you know, some type of bottoming kind of situation here for this. Now, how far that actually goes, you know, well, this here anyway, we could look at this in different ways here, but essentially that third wave would see a couple of, you know, something like this to lower it here at this point. But once it does low here, we'll keep a bit of an eye on it, because it becomes a bit interesting at that point. Because if it's two things, once that lows in, if it's breached here, then we know we've got a bigger picture. We also need to keep an eye out on the move that comes up here in case it's some sort of ABC pattern at that point. Because if we note that this is corrective here, then this is going to come down further at that point. Now this could be, you know, this could be 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4, and we come down for 5 here and then go up for this. But anything past this here as an A wave, a B wave in here, and a C wave here, anything past that, right, anything past that 3 waves there, be that a 4th wave and a 5th wave here, or goes up further from that point, then we've got a bigger situation happening for this market, because, and the banking sector in general really, because currently we've got 3 waves down here. If we get 5 waves down here, for example, just pointing it out, if we do get 5 waves down, then we know we're going to have a correction. We're going to get another 5 waves down, aren't we? So that opens a real can of worms. So if this turns into 5 waves here, then we're going to be looking at a bigger picture here. And there could be a situation where this becomes wave 1 here and 2 here, and then down for 1 here and 2 here, and then we go down for a larger 3rd wave as well. So that's another way to view this situation here. So we could look at it as 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and then down for a larger 3rd wave at this point. So you can kind of see when you look at the dates here what that actually means at that point. So it's a little bit serious at this point, and you know, we've shorted BAC at this point, and you know, up here on that, and so, you know, we're looking at a bit. But so this banking crisis, as I mentioned yesterday, you know, for SVB to close on, you know, quite a few, even though that's covered. You know, there's always skeletons in the closet. We know that from FTX as well. You know, there's stories that come out later where people have been, you know, credit crunched or this or that, you know, and you know, and it's putting pressure not just on the US banks but global banks to look at their policy and what they've done with their money and so on, you know. Besides all of this, so all I'm pointing out here is that there can be a much bigger bearish picture opening for this market, you know, so we'll need to keep a bit of an eye on this, and we'll do that. But you know, BAC is doing much the same as this, you know. With BAC, we're actually looking at it in terms of 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 5 coming down here. That's a bigger degree of structure, but basically that's what we're looking at for that. Also this week too, we've got, as I mentioned yesterday, in the next session, we've got CPI figures, and then we've got tomorrow, on Tuesday today in the US, and then we've got some PPI figures on Wednesday, and housing and jobless claims on Thursday. And I think on Wednesday as well, you've got the ECB mentioning if they're going to be doing 25 or 50 basis points as well. And then I think the following week, you've got the Feds doing that. So it's a pretty volatile sort of week ahead for announcements. So yesterday, we also looked at the bearish side of the markets. And that was good that we've done that, and we'll continue to do that. And we'll look at we're looking at the S&P at the moment in front of us, and I'm looking at this on the bullish side here for a moment. So because it's not like the bullish side has disappeared just yet, but what we could do here is we could say, well, if this low is taken out here, then this move that we've got here, because we've got this as wave 1 here and 2 here, and then wave 1 here, and then an A and a B and a C wave here for wave 2. So I've got this as 1 and 2, and 1 and A and a B and a C here for wave 4, and down for wave 5 here. So that gives us 5 waves at that point. So what we could say, as long as that low stays in place, then we've still got a bullish market at this point. So that's important. You know, we can also look at the, you know, take this and look at the, I'll just go in there, that's 10K, so this was 5K. So this kind of helps resolve this a little bit here as 1, 2, 3, ABC for 4, and then down for 5 here. If we can look at the bearish side of this here, just on the 1000, then we still have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here, but then we'll be looking at, on the bearish side, we'll look for an A and a B and a C coming up here. So what it does do at the moment is that we'll take a closer look at this. It means that we can short below here. We'll need to understand this a little bit better. We'll do that in the indices video, of course, but just want you to know that this low at the 38 is critical at this point. Now, we have seen stocks recover quite nicely from the government coming out and saying they're going to, you know, save the system, and everything is safe and everything is cool, and but it does show vulnerabilities in the system, that's for sure. And it was funny because I seen somebody on the Bitcoin side of things put out the monitoring of the filming of the Feds having their conversation, and about the sort of money crisis, and it's quite sort of interesting. It sort of reminded me of you know, people not really sort of grasping the situation. Actually, that's what it kind of reminded me of, without being criticizing anybody, because I don't like to criticize unless it's constructive, you know. But it just sort of seeing them sit, you know, 20 of them sit at a table and talk about things. They didn't really have a good grip on what was role was, what their job was, and what was actually going on. It was a bit frightening, actually, I have to say. But anyway, that's another story. So yeah, so that's the S&P, and we'll look at that in more detail. So when we come to Apple here, we were looking at Apple like this. There's a couple of ways we can also look at Apple being bullish as well, but we'll just keep today, because of all the announcements coming out and what's going on, we're just seeing the market sort of be a bit volatile. So I don't think that we're calling anything in as such. You know, I mean, we can do things like say, well, if this low is breached here, you can short that third wave down. You know, those sorts of things. Or that's quite wide and vague. So this here is, you know, Apple with the A wave here, the B wave here, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 coming down. Now we can also take a look at this, that you know, if we're going to go short here, that means we could also go long here as well. Okay, so we can see this in the old way that we looked at, which I think may be on here. Yeah, so this was it here, where we had this as wave A here, B here, and C here, and then 5 waves up for 1 here, an A and a B and a C here for this. I know we could count it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here as well. This move here looks a little bit impulsive at this point. So this particular pattern here, it's possible that it can you know, move up from this point. So we can look at this, you know, as 5 waves moving up here. It looks like 5 waves. We'll have a closer look at that. And if that moves up through here, then that would put that into a bullish mode. Now, it may just give us an A and a B and a C wave here, and that would be the trap. So if you're going to go long here, then you would only have a very small position at that point. So we're going to flip over to the bearish side, I think it is here. Then we'll go into the intraday here for this. So this is what we were looking at yesterday. So we've got a bit of a rally here, but this rally, unless I include the spike, you know, if I include the spike, I can put this here. But if I don't include the spike, then it's actually quite a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So yeah, just going to move this out of the way for a moment. So yeah, so it's a little bit of a thing there. So if we included the spike, we could go an A and a B and then a C wave at this point. But even if that wasn't the case, I still think we need to be just a little bit mindful of 5 waves up with an ABC pattern here, and then something coming up like this, and then sort of failing at that supply here, and then coming down here as well. So I think there's a couple of ways we could look at that, and we can look at this as 5 waves of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for that. So that's how that would play out at that point. Yeah, I mean, I've always liked this here as a 5 wave move, even though I can label it as an ABC for the A wave here, the B wave here, and the C wave up here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't really like to put it as a B wave. Let's just go to, I'm just thinking we don't need to do very much at the moment. So this is this little move here. So this little move up here, if we just ignore that spike that's coming here from some news event as 1 and 2 here, and then we can look at this as wave 3 up here. Wave 3 could also go here as well. I just need to double check that a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, maybe something like that. Anyway, it's not a biggie. And then this move up through here is probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll just see, and this would be the A wave, a B wave, and a C wave coming down here for this. So a nice little 5 wave sequence to come as 1, 2, 3, 4. Normally the 3 and 4 normally dances around the previous low, and then wave 5. So we'll see if this moves up here, and once we got 5 waves up here, anything above that 5 waves, then we can be bullish at this point. But we just need to be mindful of the deeper move to the downside at this point in time. So that's where we are at the moment. There's different ways to view this here. Some of the stocks that I look at counts up as an ABC and some as a bit of an impulse wave. Let's see how that plays out. Okay, so let's move over to Amazon. So I'm looking at the bullish count because, you know, if we're going to go short, we need to know, you know, what the bullish count is, and we can look at this as wave 1 here with an A and a B and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. It's a little bit spiky, but it counts quite nicely as 5 waves. We'll check on that. So that would be the bullish count. So as long as that low stays in place, we're okay at that point for the bullish count. The bearish count, I think we'll just go to, we'll start with 50k for the bearish count. So the bearish count is a bit like this here, where we have the A wave here, the B wave up here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So I haven't updated this, but because it didn't come that low, but 1 and 2 here, and then moving down at that point. So from 50 we go to 1k. And that will just bring us into this little area through here. So we're looking at 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the third, fourth, and then 1 and 2, and 3 and 4 and 5. And yeah, I know there's overlap there, but it's still the best way to count this. So in this instance, we could look at this moving the same thing as Apple, as I just mentioned. In this case, it looks quite good for that. So we would see a move down at this point, and then a move up at that point, and then down at that stage. So we'll just need to see how that plays out. And like I said, if this low here is breached, then you'll need to be, we'll just put that there on the green side. So I don't really want to make any sort of brash decisions at this point, even though the banks are really weak too. Those banks need to rally off their lows a little bit as a wave 4, so we can be, you know, in that space for a bit. But we should see these pull down further here. But I'm going to go to from 1,000 to 100 just to understand that little move to the upside. So that was that spike. I'm not sure what that was from, as I would have been in slumberland, sleeping away or meditating or something. But here you can see that we have, well, it's a nice 5-wave structure to the upside, isn't it? You know, is that finished? Probably, because now it's overlapping that little top there. Yeah, so it's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it looks like quite nice as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, doesn't it? So like it could be bullish, but also too we're looking at. Sorry, I haven't adjusted all of these just yet, but we can put that low in there. This is the bullish count, but it could be the bearish count too. Do you know what I mean? So all I can say here is we'll get some sort of ABC pattern here, and then we'll get a push up here. This will be roughly the same length or something of that nature before coming down again at that stage. So sorry, just checking on a trade. So yeah, let's just see. We don't need to do anything just yet. I mean, if you're intraday trading, then that's okay. You know, you can look for, you know, a classic trading levels pattern on the 93 here, get to 95. That would be, you know, a nice little piece of the pie for you. And but the takeaway here is that we've got a pretty nice 5-wave structure here, isn't it? I mean, you probably could get away with an A and a B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, not really. 1, 2. No, I think that's more like 5 waves. And with NVIDIA here, yesterday we were looking at it with a top in place, and we're looking at this as rather than being, because we can see it rounding off here. Do you know what I mean? It's getting lazy. It's got overlapping wave structures. You know, the lows are taking the highs out and all of those sort of things. So it is showing that weakness at that point. So we should see this in its own way coming down into a deeper move into this space for this. Now there is a bearish count for this too. I mean, I won't go there right now, but this 1, 2 and 1 and 2, we should actually look at it because, you know, markets are in a bearish mode at the moment. So this would be it here in the bigger picture with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, then an A and a B and a C wave coming into the box here, and then dropping from that, and we'll have a wave C here. Now obviously this is a market or an industry that's being supported by the government, and you'd think it would be reasonably safe, but you know, anything is possible. Nothing too high, nothing. If you've been around long enough, you'll know that there's nothing too low and nothing too high. So anything is possible, and it's not good. It's good not to have opinions, unless they're constructive based on something. So I'm just saying that this could be viewed in two ways. That's all. That's all I know, really. You know, there's a very good case for having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. So, I mean, if you're long in this market, you know, as I mentioned, you need to be out of it the other day because, well, we did have long trades in through here, didn't we? We got out, but you can see that it was strong here, and then, you know, it's had profit taking, and and folks have moved back into it, and but it's looking tired here at this point. So I'm not sure what we're on at that point. I'll just go back to 5. So yeah, this is where we were. So we'll just go into 1 at this point. So we will look at what we had here. Is I could count 5 waves in this little move here, but I was unsure about this little spiky business going on here. So I don't know if we need to put something over here as an A and a B and a C wave over here, or something or other. So I'm just leaving that there at this particular point in time. And we'll just go to 100 ticks and see if we can look at it in some other, if we can get some shine some light on it in some way or another. So yesterday we were looking for this up here. And so now this is also like a little, it looks here we can go 1, 2 as an A and a B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that could be the top right there for that. But what we can do is we can short it under this level here now. So I'll just give that a little bit of a green light there. This here also looks like 5 waves as well. So I don't know if we got down for 1 here and back for 2 here like we had yesterday. I could look at all of this too on the bullish side, just to be fair. I could look at all of this move down here as the A wave, and then a B wave here, and then a C wave here, and that's the low. That's why I would also short it at that point. Because if it was an A and a B and a C, then going short below there, which would be a nice place to have a stop, wouldn't it? Then that would be it at that point. So that kind of nuts it out quite nicely, I think. And this is 5 waves here. I've already pulled that apart, even though I've taken all the labeling off it as 1 and 2 in here, and I think it was 3 or 4 to here, or to here and down. So yeah, look, if you're really keen, you could probably short it under here or under this one as well, for all of that matter. But I'll just leave that up to you because you'll need to work your magic on that. And over to Meta. So with Meta here, I can look at this in different ways really. So I'm not going to call a trade in on this. We were looking at as wave 1 with an A and a B and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down here for this. That would be, you know, will the rest of the markets follow the banks down? That's the question. Do you know what I mean? Or are they going to be isolated to themselves at that point? Or is it going to, you know, bring them all in? Because we've also got the count too, which is at this point in time is still quite valid. Is this one here, which I kind of like actually, which is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, the fourth wave here. and then 1 and 2 here, and then moving up for, moving up here, doing its thing here. So this is still valid, and the stochastics kind of is liking what it's seeing at that particular point as well. But it does go to the point now that, well, we could actually short it under here if you wanted to short the move lower at that point. So that's kind of interesting, but let's just cruise in from 10k. I'll just go to 5. I know they've got some different counts here. This is still that count on 5k. So there's a good case for 5 waves down here, but it was just a little bit hard to read here because as a corrective wave 4 here, I'd really need to put it as an A wave to here, a B wave to here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, spiky 5. Let's take a closer look on the 1000, which will be the bearish count. So this would be the bearish count with wave C up. Oh, this is actually a bigger bearish count, this one, with a top in here, not as wave 1, but as wave C, and then 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Probably not the case, but what it does do is it still gives us the opportunity to short it at this particular point here. And there's a good case for, I could get 5 waves out of this, but as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for 1 and 2 and the third wave up here, that's a pretty good case. But to short it under here, that would be for whatever reasons, because once you've got all your counts on the table, anything sort of beyond certain point would be okay to short or to go long. And in this case, we can short it under here. And let's just go to 100 ticks. So this is where we were yesterday. This is also looking at the more bullish count with wave 1 here and 2 here. This is what we were looking. I don't even know if we looked at this yesterday, actually. Doesn't count very nicely as an A and a B and a C wave down here, because this is more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So it's a little bit tricky. It's more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but obviously that's not going to work either. So it actually gives us a reasonable corrective pattern here because it's got overlapping wave structures in that case. Like I said, we can go short from under here. This will be, it can go from here to the 61.8% and then move down from that point. So you could probably get a better shorting position under here for this. I don't want to particularly go long at this point in the market, even though we looked at the S&P and there is a bit of a bullish count for there. I don't want to make any calls until we get at least until we get through the because it's all got to do with inflation, hasn't it? The CPI figures and the PPI figures and the jobs and that. So, and then you got the Feds next week, and we'll see what the ECB does as well. I mean, obviously they're talking to the US, and we'll see if they do 50 basis points or 25. So once we get past that, we'll kind of know where we are a little bit more so with things. So yeah, I mean, this looks more corrective here, so that top should be taken out. But could it be down for 1, back for 2, down for 1, back for 2 without taking that top out here? So yeah, I can see that this move is getting a little bit tired here as well. It started off nice and strong, and then the next one up here is getting overlapping wave structures, and we're getting overlapping wave structures here. Yeah, we could look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here and have an ABC and have another little move up to here and then come down. But not ready to call it in just yet. Netflix, so yeah, I mean, I can remember this far back, so I remember going through this motion here, look for the ABC, we got that, then we counted down as 1 here and 2, and then we've been moving down as 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, fourth and fifth. So I think we got the fourth wave here, the fifth wave, and then the fourth wave here. This fourth wave could obviously go higher because of the degree of structure, but that's really sort of where we are at this moment. So there's nothing going on here. It's going to be dancing around this number, as I've mentioned before, for a while to come. So there's no need to do anything here for Netflix. It's still got more downside. Enphase. So as I've mentioned before, I'm not that sure about this, but this B wave that I got here, it could end up over here somewhere. I really don't know. And my 5 waves down here is, you know, it's a little bit, it's valid, but it's a bit rough, you know. But we do have that 3 waves here. Because of that 3 waves, that means we should be taking out this low here. How to count this here? I'm not that sure either. I can see some parts of it. We've got a beautiful 5-wave structure here, so we could look at that as a 3rd wave and a 4th and a 5th. We could label it wave 1. We could also label it wave A as well. We can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2. The same as this one here. We can go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for 1 and come back up here for wave 2 here for this. Or we could put wave 2 here as well. So I don't really know at this point. So I'm not going to call anything in. It's not looking, even though it could go up, you know, it could be a big triangle pattern too. It's an A, B, C, D, and E over here as well, you know, and then go down from that point. So we put this over, you know, over here for that. In fact, I'll put that in, so I'll give that a bit more consideration actually. We'll see, but not that ready yet. But that's the trouble with corrections, they can just keep sort of expanding on themselves. Okay, so with Tesla here, the bullish side to this is we'll look at it. We've been looking at it in 2 different ways. So the move up to wave 1 here is pretty clear that it's impulsive. So that's good. In the bigger picture, it could also be an A wave as well, but we don't need to worry about that just yet. We're in the midst of a correction here, and our original count was really quite simple, as an A wave here, a B wave here, and then we're looking for 5 waves down of blue, 1, 2, and we counted down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So that can be the end of it there. We can have this as wave 1 with an A and a B and a C, and you know, that could be quite helpful in terms of helping you know, the S&P and the NASI sort of push up from this point. And you know, in some of the markets like Apple, we were looking up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's all pretty healthy as well. Could we look at it a little bit differently? Possibly. But it does present, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, some stocks have got 5 waves up here, you know, so that's quite positive, and that's good, isn't it? Now we could also look at this move up here as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here for a B wave. So let's just look at that. So I'll just grab, oh, that quite doesn't work. I need to go to another chart and talk about this a little bit differently. It doesn't quite fit. We'll still need another little move down. Let me think. So we don't need all of that. Let's just start from the outside for a moment so I get my bearings. So this here, I'll just tidy this up here a little bit while I'm here. So that's what we were looking for there, and we're looking for a move up. Now, as we're talking about, we're also considering this being an A wave here and a B wave over here, and so on at that point. But it does make a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this. But if we were, I suppose, I mean, the thing with a wave 2, it's normally a zigzag pattern, isn't it? So it's normally 5 waves for the A wave, and then 3 for the B, and then 5 for the C wave. So if we were going to look at this as a bigger picture here in terms of a B wave over here, and this is an A wave here, and then push this over to here, if we're going to do that, I don't have 5 waves down here at this point. I only have 3. So that means that this here would need to be a wave 4 over here. So if we just go into the 10K tick chart here, which one's this one? Yeah, so this is how this would look at this point. So if we're going to have this is wave 1 here, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, and this is 5 waves here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, fourth, fifth, so there'll be the third wave. So this would just be the 4th wave here, and then we'll have one more move down, then an ABC pattern here. So we've got to work through this as well, I feel. I mean, I'd like to go long here, but it's a little bit difficult when you're seeing what's going on in the banking sector, and they're actually in a wave 4 rally at the moment, which is just really sort of short covering from that big third wave. So yeah, this would be some sort of 4th wave coming back into, you know, this is another 4th wave here, so, you know, back into 180 area and then dropping from there. So let's just see if that plays out first, you know, as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the A wave, then a B wave, and then a C wave into the 61.8%. So we need this to play out. Yeah, I mean, it'd be a shame if this is the low here. You know, it would be nice to go in and buy, but I don't really have the rest of the market with me at this point. You know, that's the problem with it. So I can't go in and get trapped at this point without, you know, without some decent evidence and all of this. So this is Google here. So as a move to the upside, this would be the bullish move. We need to look at the bearish move in this as well. We know that the discretionary sector is pretty, or the communication sector is pretty weak at this point in time, but we don't, so with the communication sector here, just have a look at the bigger picture and of the ETF here, and Google's got quite a bit of this in here, quite dominant in it. So we can look at this here as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up here for a B wave. That would be the bearish count. Then we'd have to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for wave 1 and 2. But we could also look at this 5 waves as an A wave and a B wave and a C wave here too. So we can look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. That's all doable. So we're not, you know, it's not totally sold on the bearish side of things at the moment. But if we looked at this as wave 1 up here and then wave 2 back here, well then that is the 50-60% retracement level area at this point. So we could look at this as the A, the B, and the C and put wave 2 there, and that would be the low at that point. So that kind of helps the S&P and Tesla and all of that with their bullish counts, doesn't it, you know? But what we could say at this point too is that if this low is breached here, then we can turn that trigger green and we can go short at that point. Now, if this is 5 waves here, then there's going to be some sort of little ABC pattern here, and then we're going to come down at that point. And if we're going to come down, this would all be wave 1 here. This would be wave 2. So we could just put this as wave 1 here for a moment and wave 2 here. Then this would be wave 1 of a smaller degree here, so I'll just make that a little bit smaller, and this would be a little wave 2 here. So you can kind of see it opens up a little bit more, because if this is corrective here, then the main point here is this low gets dropped out at that point, would be coming through that. So we're at a critical, you know, that's why I was looking at the bearish picture yesterday and putting a bearish situation forward, because we need to prepare for these things, you know, and this is, you know, the banks have highlighted the situation and we need to prepare, and we knew that we'd be getting a rally coming in, and we're getting that rally. It's like, what does that rally actually look like now, you know? In the first move up here, we can see that it's got 5 waves in the market in terms of just looking at Tesla, for example, and and Apple. So it is possible to be bullish, and so coming back to Google here, if this low is breached here, then we can be bearish at that point too, do you know? Because really, if this was wave 1 here and an ABC for wave 2, it's already pulled back to the 50-60%. It could come down and test 90 and then move off again, but breaching that, then that would really put it in a bearish move. And it's a bit of a long shot calling this wave 1 here and 2 here and 1 here and 2 here and 1 here and 2 here. You know, that's a pretty bullish stance that would be moving up from that point. So, you know, there would need to be some main things happening. You know, the Feds would only have to raise rates 25% next week, and the other figures would need to look bad to be good, and all of those sort of things, you know. So, yeah. Anyway, the bearish side of this, we can just have a look at that on the 50k, and then we'll go to 1k or something. So the bearish side would look like this, with 1 and 2 here, as we just had a look at it in the communication sector, and that would be the bearish side of that. So we can short it under here for that. And if we drill into the, go from 50,000 ticks to 1,000 ticks to get a bit of an idea in here. So this is one of the things here. Now I did check on another platform that this is the actual high here. So we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. So we've been counting that there, and we can put wave 2 here. But at the same time, we can also look at this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. And we can see clearly that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So when it comes to shorting now, if this is 1 and 2 and 3 here, this needs to be 4. We do need to come down and take out another low here, and then there would always bounce off that. So then we would come back again, and then we would go down at that point. So what we can do at that stage, that opens up a better picture for us. Now that we understand that, we can look to, if we get 5 waves here from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if we get 5 waves here, that means in the opposite direction of the previous trend, then that means we're going to come over here. So that means that we could look to short that in that box there. We can build positions in this market, you know, at the right time, of course, get our timing right. So sometimes I don't know what's going on in the markets, you know, I mean, you know, and to me that's always okay, but it's really what we're looking for is we're looking for something that we know, that we have some confidence in. We're looking for, it's all about the trade setup. I mean who knows what's going to happen, you know, 100% of the time. I mean, I'm sure there's probably people that are, you know, that are quite good at that, and so all I can boil it down to is getting the right setup, and that's what we're looking for here. And will we get this setup? Well, we don't know that just yet. You know, there's a good case for looking at this as not as a wave 2 rally, but as wave 5. So we've got 5 waves here. We can go 1 and 2 here. We can count 5 waves here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here for the 3rd, the 4th, and then the 5th wave here. And so we can look at that as wave 1 here with an A and a B and a C at this point. So we don't know if this is going to happen yet, but if we do get the 5 waves here, then, because with structures, you know, some of it's clear and some of it's not, and if it's not clear, you have to identify and tick a box that it's not clear and it could be something else, and then that sort of, you know, that becomes part of the evidence, you know. But if it's clear that we got 5 waves here, and then we can see this as corrective in some way, well, then we can short it here, and if there is risk, we can put a very small position in here, you know, maybe even get another one in here. I won't go into the 100 ticks at this point in time. We'll just see how that plays out. And this is Microsoft. So with Microsoft here, this is the bullish side of it. We would need this low to stay in place at this point in time. It does make a nice A wave, B wave, and C wave here for this. In most other cases around the world, if we're looking at this, and Google and everybody, if we're looking at this here, we'll look at this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. I find it a bit difficult as a C wave to get 5 waves here. I could do it if I use this top rather than that top and just call that a truncated top. I could do that, but then, you know, it still leaves the possibility of this being an ABC pattern here, for the A, the B, and the C wave here for this. So yeah, once again, we would need the same thing that we talked about with Google to occur here as well. So the bearish count for this, of course, is going to the 50K to look at this, would be looking at it like this here, with a B wave up here, and would need this to break down lower. Now we could do this here, and I could put this here, and so on and so on, but there's just a few little, I'm just going to keep these wide here for a moment, because I can know that there's different ways to look at all of this. And what we can see here as well is we can see the 250 here as support and resistance. It's really the balance for all of this that's happening here. So it's been through a lot emotionally, you know, trying to find this as resistance or support. And what normally happens if you, you know, if you've been focused on it for quite some time, then you can see that, well, it's done a lot here, isn't it? I mean, it's come down, it's bounced off here, it's come through. So it's in a downtrend, and now it's retesting supply in 3 waves. Will it find support here, or won't it? You know, at the moment it's not resistance, is it? So we'd need something like this. We need that first low below the level, and then going back up and testing it, because currently we're still, you know, above the level here. So we need all of that to play out here, and a lot of the time it will go back above the level, so it'll be back up here, and then we'll have to go over here. So we're not quite there with it yet, but we can see that it's sinking in the mud, and you could probably short it below here, but I'll just keep all positions really small at this particular time with this. So I'll just have a look at what I've done on the 1000 tick chart here, just in case I've got something here for this. So this 1000 is the bearish count. Yeah, this just hasn't resolved itself right, you know, that's the thing with all of this. But yeah, but no but. So just doesn't, yeah, it just doesn't count that well as 5 waves up here. So anyway, I'm just waiting to see. It looks like we've got another little impulse wave here, like we've been looking around. So we'll just see how that goes. I'm not ready to do anything here just yet. So yeah, I'm going to move that out of the way. So Berkshire Hathaway here, in a nutshell, we can look at the whole market in 2 ways. We can look at all of this move up here as wave 1. We can look at all of this move up here as wave C. If it's wave C, then we need to put wave B here. If it's wave 1, we can have wave 1 here. And if it is wave 1, now that we've got 3 waves up here, we have to look at this as the A wave here, the B wave here. And on a positive note, I could put wave C here. It's a little bit short, or get one more little move down here. But otherwise, we'll be looking for, even as a bullish count here, we'd be looking for something like this here. That would be the bullish count, having wave C down here for this. So I haven't really been in here, but it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, or it could be wave 4 here, then wave 5. We don't want to short this unless we on the other side of it over here for this, but because that's in 3 waves here, that means we should be taking out this low here. So we could have wave C just popping down here, and that will be it, little move down here, and that's it. You know, so there's more work to be done here. The market's not going to trend right here, right now, so we don't need to do anything. We just need to be patient and let it unfold and come to us. Now this is block here. Now I could also look at this in a positive light as well, in a bullish count. I could look at this as wave 1 and 2. And then wave 1 up here, a smaller degree, then an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here. That's possible, but we would need to see, it's probably not quite completed here just yet for that, but we would need to see it push up at that point. We could go long here, we could go long on a bigger impulse wave here and buy the pullback over here for this. We don't need to rush into this, you know, we can go to this point here, but what we do need to understand is that we know that the money section, the banks, you know, the gateways, all of those, I don't know how Visa and all that are going, but you know, there's they don't have a lot of confidence in them at the moment, and this one is feeling the effects of it too, you know. You know, it could be a bigger bearish picture opening here as well. But once again, it's not set up to go short here either for this. So we're not going to do anything with this at the moment. We're just going to wait this out. What we can do is during the week, we'll have a look at once that comes in as 5 waves. Then we can look at, there'll be some sort of rally coming into play. Then we can look to short under the B wave or wave 2 at that point, and then we can add positions as we move, if we move down through here. So it will be something like that. Shorting it right now will just chew up time, especially if you've got leverage. You can't afford, we are time traders, and you can't afford to be churned up by time and paying, you know, paying margin costs. So the banking sector, yeah, so BAC, the A, the B and the C here for this, wave 1 here, wave 2 here, and then 1 and 2. I think we're at wave 3 low here. There'll be some sort of another retest of $30 for wave 4, and then wave 5 coming down here, and then wave 4, and then wave 5. Now, I need to point out this is a very conservative count as well. This is the conservative count. I can open it up much bigger than all of this, and that may need to be done as well, as I pointed out with the regional banking sector as well. They can all be opened up a lot larger. Yeah, so we'll add to this position here around the wave 4 area here, because all of this is just going to chew up time here. It'll be something like this, and then wave 5, you can take money off the table down here if you wanted to, and we can add it back in over here. There'll be wave 4 will be a little bit clearer, because wave 2 was complicated. Wave 4 is going to be simple, and then we're going to go down again at that point. So we'll be down at that point. So we'll look to short on this wave 4 here. So I'll just grab that and put that over there. So we've got a long way to go with all of that. You could short it back at the 30 as well here if you wanted to. I mean, the point being now is that we have taken this move out here. So this structure is just not completed, you know. It's just not completed. So yeah, you can short it back in there. Perhaps over the next day or two, when we'll take a closer look at the intraday basis on that. And but basically anywhere back there we can look to short it. Now obviously too, that with the trading levels, we're at major level 3 here. The next level important down is 28, and then with 28 we've got 2650 in here, 2650 and 27, 22 and a half, basically something in there. Let's put it there. So that's all of group 2 there. So that's going to play out as support in the market at this point. So just be mindful of that. We can use these, you know, you can use the price. Alrighty, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.